And then he came back home, yep.
What a good guy.
And this score just never went anywhere.
She left home.
Stayed here. Okay. All right, so here we go. So, we're on section 4. We're talking about negative exponents. You need to be able to simplify. This is no calculator. All right, so the next test you take will be in 2 parts. Calculator, no calculator. And this will be a no calculator problem. So those of you that think you're going to be able to just type this in, you need to be able to do this. Now, a negative exponent means 1 over. So 4 to the negative second means 1 over 4 squared. So the answer to the problem would be 1/16. How do we handle negative exponents? 1 over. We move them to the denominator. So what about B? 5 to the negative first means 1 over 5 to the first, which is just 1/5. Look at the next one. 2 times 3 to the negative second. Now, these are 2 separate numbers. Forget the 2 for a minute, deal with this. What are you going to do with 3 to the negative second? 1 over 3 squared, which is 1/9. This part right here, you're dealing with separately. These are separate numbers. They're not together. So that is 1 over 3 squared, 1/9. So now you got to multiply that by 2 over 1. And when I multiply 2 over 1 times 1/9, what do I do? Top times top, bottom times bottom. So that's 2/9. The answer is 2/9. I leave the 1/9. 3 to the negative second means 1 over 3 squared. Okay, now what about the next one? What do I do? Exactly. Look, the negative exponent means 1 over, right? Well, if it's already 1 over, then it's going to just flip it back up. It's going to flip it back the other way. So this is the same as 4 squared, and the answer is 16. So negative exponents mean 1 over, unless they're already 1 over, and then it means flip it over. What about E? What do you think? Make it what? What's the stuff before that, Gabby? So it would be 3/2 to the third. Now remember, a negative exponent makes it 1 over. So in other words, go back to the original, very first problem. See that 4? He had to come down to the denominator, right? Because of the negative exponent. Well, look, if they're already in the denominator, then they come up. A negative exponent moves you down or moves you up, depending on where you start. So in this problem, that negative exponent is going to move anything on top to the bottom and anything on the bottom to the top. So a negative exponent flips you over. It turned a 4 into 1 over 4. It turns a 1/4 into 4 over 1. It turns a 2/3 into 3/2. So a negative exponent turns you over. So your answer will be what? 27/8. 3 cubed, 2 cubed, 27/8. Now these are 2 separate numbers. Does that exponent have anything to do with the 1/2? No.
No.
So we're gonna hold him over here to the side for a minute. We're gonna deal with this. What's 5 to the negative first? 1/5. So now you're gonna take the 1/5 and you're gonna times it by the 1/2.
1/10.
So your answer will be 1/10. Beautiful. All right, how about the next one? Got 1/2 times 1/5 to the negative first. All right, now again, these are two separate numbers, so forget this for a second. What about 1/5 to the negative first? That flips, right? The negative exponent flips. So this becomes 5/1 times 1/2. What's my answer? 5/2. Anybody said 10's a goofball? We multiply straight across. 5/2. And one more. In this section, 3 to the negative 4th. 1/3 to the 4th. Remember, it flips it, makes it 1/, and 3 to the 4th means 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, which is 81. And yes, I expect you to be able to do that without a calculator. You can multiply 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. All right, not too bad. Look at this next section though. Now things are getting crazy. We're putting all of our ideas together. 8 to the negative 2/3. Now, you gotta take care of the negative first, okay? So what's gonna happen, because that's negative, what are we gonna do? 1/. So this is gonna be 1/8 to the 2/3. Take care of the negative first. And what does a negative exponent do? It flips it. So instead of having 8, you're gonna have 1/8, basically, 1/8. Now, what does 2/3 mean? We just talked about that. 2/3 means the cube root squared. So this is 1/, the cube root of 8 squared. What's the cube root of 8? 2. So that's 1/2 squared, which is 1/4. So the answer to the problem is 1/4.
I did it differently and it still got it.
What did you do?
I did, so I got 2 raised to the negative 2, which is 1/2 squared, and then that comes out to 1.
So you took the cube root of 8 and then raised that to the negative 2nd power. That's fine. That's absolutely fine.
Oh, like the same.
What?
Like what we were doing earlier.
Yep.
Just
Yep. Yep. Yes, that's exactly what we're doing. Took
Would
the
that
cube
work?
root of 8 and squared it.
That
Yeah.
works every time.
Yep. All right. B, 4 to the negative 3/2. Anytime we have a negative exponent, we want to flip it, move it. So 1/4 to the 3/2. And what does 4 to the 3/2 mean? Find the square root. So the square root of 4, and then you're going to cube that. So what's the square root of 4? 2, and 2 cubed is 8. So the answer is 1/8. Now make sure you're getting 1/8. If you're doing things a little bit differently, that's fine. Make sure you're getting 1/8. Okay. All right, what do we got next? Oh Lord, oh my. This looks frightening. Ooh, Okay, now forget everything else. What does that negative exponent do to this guy? That negative exponent takes this and flips it. So this is going to become 9. And if you want to do 9 over 1, that's fine, but 9 over 1 is the same as 9. So it's going to take it 9 to the 1/2 power. What does the 1/2 power mean? Square root. Square root of 9 is 3. There's the answer to the question. So it looked scary, but it wasn't quite as bad. All right, now, one step at a time. What does that negative exponent mean for this fraction? Flips it. So this is going to be 27/8 to the positive 1/3. If you have a negative exponent, flip your base, flip your thing here, this thing, and then your exponent becomes positive. Now what does a 1/3 power mean? Cube root. So we've got the cube root of 27/8. What's the cube root of 27? What's that 9? 3. Cube root of 27 is 3. What's the cube root of 8? 2. So the answer to the problem is just 3 over 2, 3/2. What was that? D, so now I'm ready for E. 27 to the negative 2/3. What does that negative do? 1 over 27. So we're going to have 1 over 27 to the 2/3. What does the 2/3 mean? Cube root of 27 squared. Oh boy. It's the cube root of 27. 3, and 3 squared is 9. So the answer is 1/9. Try F on your own. See if you can get F, the answer to F. 16 to the negative 3/4. It's just like the one we just did. So if you need to use that as a model, use it as a model. Ethan, got it? Okay, well, let's quit stretching and start working. The one on top is because of the negative there.
Yeah.
So you're just going to have to remember you have a 1 on top. Yeah. Okay, how many of you got 1/8? Awesome. Now, somebody who got 1/8, walk me through your thought process so that those who didn't get 1/8 can figure it out. Colleen?
So first I did negative 1 over 16.
So she took care of her negative exponent first, which as our problems get more complicated, we're going to want to do that always first, so we might as well get in the habit. She said, I don't like that negative exponent, it's going to be 1 over. Okay, then what?
And then I
4 through to 16, and cubed it.
And then I got, first time I got 4, I got 2, and then I multiplied by 3.
the 4 through to 16 is 2, and 2 cubed is 8. So that's her thought process, which is very nicely done. That's the answer to the question. All right, try the next one.
Ooh.
Try the next one. Looks a little tricky. You can do it. Don't get confused. What's that negative exponent do right there? Flips it. So that becomes 16 to the 1/4. And what does 16 to the 1/4 mean? The 4 through to 16, which is 2. That's exactly right. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, let's finish it up. Then I got a worksheet for us to look at. Let's look at letter H. 9 to the negative 3/2. Okay, 9 to the negative 3/2. Watch it, it's a negative. So we're going to start by 1 over. We got to take care of that negative. You can't just ignore it. 9 to the 3/2 means the square root of 9 cubed. What's the square root of 9? 3 cubed, 27. If you said 27, you forgot the 1 over. Don't forget 1 over 27. And it's 1 over because it started out with a negative exponent. How about this guy? It's going to be 1 over. And the 1/2 power means square root. So this is 1 over the square root of 100, 1/10. And finally, oh, the biggest, baddest of them all, take a look at that. K, you see the negative exponent?
Yeah.
So you know that's going to flip your fraction, so it's going to be 109 to the 3/2. Which means the square root of 109. So we'll have to figure out what that is, and then we'll cube it. So what's the square root of 109? 10/3. Square of 100, square root of 9. Now you're cubing it. Uh-oh, no calculator. You don't need one. 10 cubed. 1,000 over 27. If you have a fraction to any power, you take the whole thing to that power. Now, if there were a 1 on top, 1 cubed is just 1. So it doesn't look like you've done it, but you really have. Okay? Okay. All right. Now, in your packet of stuff that I gave you a long time ago, you had a couple of worksheets. And they were separate. So it looked like this. Let's get this out. Boys, come on. Get this out. I gave you these worksheets. There were 2 of them stapled together.
Yeah.
We're doing the front one right now.
Yeah.
Not in your note sheets. This is something different and a separate. When I handed them out, I said, okay, everybody's got this. Everybody had it.
Alright, I'm gonna run through and do it in 5 minutes.
So here's what I want to do. How much time do we have? Oh, Okay, with your neighbors, let's see if we can get the first 5 done. So see if you can, with your neighbor, get the first 5 done. We'll put those on the board and check them. By the way, this is on your assignment sheet. So let's get it done, and then when it comes time, you can turn it in and we'll have it all ready. No, get a partner. You guys are working it out together. Get a partner. Jake, man.
I mean, I get it. I just haven't started.
But why are you on your phone?
I want to see what I had next. I don't know what I had.
Quincy, what kind of zone are we in?
No phone.
No phone
Oh,
zone.
no.
It's right out there.
The ozone layer.
All right, let's go. Let's get the first 5 done.
Yeah, the first one got that. He was like,
All right, skip. If there's one you can't do, skip it and go on.
I have a question.
Don't ask me, ask your partners. This is 4. Got a little tricky on the sheet. That's okay.
I don't think it changes anything.
It doesn't. You're smart. You can figure it out.
This would find it first of all. Alright, well.
First 5, that's it.
First 5. If you want to go ahead and work ahead, you can, but we're only going to have time to talk about the first 5.
That's a real thing. I don't think it was.
Okay, let's kind of do all the easy ones first. I know you haven't had time to get to all of them. We're gonna run out of time here. This guy is super simple. This guy, we have already spent time earlier in the year talking about. 2 goes into 6 3 times.
Yeah.
You have 4 x's over 1 x, so there'd be 3 x's on top. And you've got 3 y's over 5 y's, it'd be 2 y's on the bottom. So that's easy. This one, I think it is sort of easy because we just did some like it. Because the exponent is negative, did you remember to do 1 over? And then you have the square root of 1 over, the square root of 9 cubed. So was your answer 127?
Yeah, that's what I got.
So that one's kind of like the ones we've been doing. Now the rest of these, I got a little wild and wacky. Okay? Take a look at this. The 2 and the x are separate. That exponent doesn't have anything to do with the 2. They're separate. So this is 2 times 1 over x to the 5th. Because x to the negative 5th means 1 over. Anything to a negative power means 1 over. Whether your numbers or letters, it doesn't matter, 1 over. So what's 2 over 1 times 1 over x to the 5th? 2 over x to the 5th. So the answer to question 3 is 2 over x to the 5th. Now that's different than question 4. Because in question 4, the whole shebang is to the negative power. So it's 1 over 3x to the 3rd. Which is 1 over 27x cubed. Wait, got one more to go. What does that 1/2 mean? Square root. It's not negative or anything, it's just a plain square root. What's the square root of 16? 4. What's the square root of x squared? Good, there's your answer. Very, very good. You should be able to finish 3-1 homework at this point. You should be able to do the 3-1 book work. Hang on to this